Hey all, welcome to Parker's Reefs. In today's episode we're going to test the water of the Idiot Proof Reef Tank just to make sure that everything's kicking along just fine. Alright, so I was just about to do my weekly water change on the Idiot Proof Reef Tank, and I thought before doing that water change it'd be a good idea to grab my Aquaforest cup, take a sample water out of this tank and just test its waste level. So we'll test the nitrate and phosphate just to make sure that the bacteria is keeping up with our two clownfish in there, but also our other parameters for all of these new corals in the tank, because they will start consuming some of these elements soon. So we're going to test alkalinity, calcium and magnesium just to make sure that everything's looking good. From there, we'll then do the water change and we'll keep an eye on the parameters from there. I'll get them tested again in maybe a week or 2 weeks from there, and we'll see just how much nutrients are piling up and how much parameters the corals are taking out of the water. So I'll grab a sample of water, we'll go out to the kitchen bench and we'll do a whole range of tests. Alright, so I've got all my test equipment here. Now, for the Idiot Proof Reef Tank, I'm probably not recommending that you have to purchase all of this equipment and then use it yourself. I'd highly, highly recommend that you have a good relationship with your local fish shop and that you take a sample of water into them to get tested. They may charge you per test, and to be honest, it's totally worth it because each one of these test kits sells for about $25. So you're talking 25, 50, 75, 100, 125. This will then go for about 200, and this is about 250. These then end up being about $100 each. So you see that it quickly adds up, and then you've got to use reagents. They go out of date, so it quickly becomes an expensive exercise. And also, I must admit, it's not the most idiot-proof thing to do these water tests. However, for this example, I already have the equipment and I'm comfortable in testing it. So we're just going to pretend that I've taken my water samples in my local fish shop and they're going to give me a baseline parameters for the Idiot Proof Reef Tank. I'll write that down and then we'll refer to that in a week or 2 weeks or a month or whenever it may be. I'd probably recommend getting your water tested at least maybe once a month. But if you think something's going a bit off in the tank, a little bit more frequently definitely won't hurt. I know some people, and a big shout out to Michelle, that test every day. They test every parameter every day. That is absolute dedication. In all honesty, it's probably not necessary, but it's not going to hurt. The more testing you do, the more information you have. The more information you have, the better the decisions you can make. However, this is the Idiot Proof Reef Tank. We're trying to keep things pretty simple, so I'm just doing a baseline test. Now, this is the first time I've tested most of these parameters. I did test the nitrite or ammonia, nitrite and nitrate whilst the tank was cycling. And in full disclosure, I really only did a couple of tests of those just to see it progress through the cycle. Because I let the tank cycle for so long, it wasn't quite as critical. However, in the last couple of weeks, I've added a whole heap of coral to that tank. And I've had quite a few people say, the parameters are going to be, the alkalinity and calcium is going to be getting stripped out of that water and you're going to run into trouble. So they could well be right. I'm not saying people are right or wrong. I just figured the best way to find out is to test the water. And if we need to implement something to help supplement those corals, we'll look into that then. But with all reef aquarium things, you're better off having the facts first before you try and implement a new piece of equipment or you start dosing things. So short of doing an ICP test, I figured we'll go through some of the parameters and we'll go from there. So the equipment I use, first up I've got a Milwaukee digital refractometer. I'm still a big refractometer fan. I'm not a big conductivity meter guy. I've just seen them come and go too many times. Refractometers are great, digital refractometer is just as good. Next up I've got the Martini Instruments Phosphate checker. Very similar to the Hanna one. It's just different color. Actually, might not even be a different color, it's just branded. Then I've got the range of Aquaforest test kits. So first up we've got the Alkalinity, which is the one that I probably use the most. I don't always test magnesium and calcium. I normally just base things off alkalinity, but we'll do the full suite in today's test just so we got a baseline. But alkalinity, magnesium, calcium. Then I've got phosphate, and you notice that I've got phosphate here, but I like to do just a cross-reference because I find that in the ranges of phosphate we're talking, having two figures and getting a bit of an average between the two is always a good thing. And then lastly, nitrate. I also have my adjustable pipettes for getting a precise amount of water to put into each of these vials. Not necessary, but I just find when I'm doing multiple tests, it makes life a lot easier. I've got the 2 to 10 mil one here and the 0.1 of a mil to 1 mil one. Last but not least, I've got my Taylor Speedster. This allows me to put the vials into here. I can put the light on like that. It lights the vial up and makes it very easy for someone with poor eyesight like myself to see when the colors change. So it makes it much more, I don't know if I'd say precise, but much more repeatable in testing. So I really love the Taylor Speedster. Again, you absolutely do not need all or any of this equipment. This is what I have, this is what I'm going to use. One last thing I've got to be here, because sometimes doing these tests takes a little while. So if you are getting these done at your local fish shop, be patient. They've probably done these a dozen times already by the time you get there. People will come in with water samples. So if they do charge for it, you'll see that it takes a bit of effort. You know they're going to give you an accurate figure. And also one other piece of advice, if your local fish shop says your water parameters are fine, get them to give you the numbers, particularly if you're paying for the tests. Get the numbers, because everyone's interpretation of fine is drastically different. Plus, fine, your magnesium levels, for instance, can be fine at 1100 and they can be fine at 1600, but do you want them going from 1100 to 1600 in a day? No. The two figures may be fine, but knowing the figures is the important thing. I can find, you could run your alkalinity at 5 DKH. If it's always 5 DKH, it's not that big of a deal. If it's going from 5 to 10, it is a big deal, or from 10 to 5. So get the figures, it always helps. So we'll start things off. I've got my Milwaukee instruments here. Just going to grab a little sample. Probably don't need a mil, but we'll take a mil. All right, so our salinity is reading at 1.026. So I'll just do a little check on that to make sure it's right on 1.026. That's exactly where we want it, so that's a good start. The salinity is the amount of salt content in the water, and basically all of your other parameters, including your alkalinity, calcium, magnesium, are all a component that builds up the salt. So if your salt level is low, your others are going to be low. If your salt level is high, your others are going to be high, or they should be high. So starting off with a 1.026 or even a 1.025 is exactly where we want the salinity to be. All right, we'll move on to the next test. All right, next up is our Martini Instruments phosphate test. This one uses a fairly large sample of 10 milliliters, so I'm going to grab my adjustable pipette. Going to turn that up to 10. Open the vial. I'll just give the vial a bit of a wipe on the outside first. It's all been cleaned between use, but you want to keep fingerprints off it. I'll get my adjustable pipette. We'll get the 10 ml of water. You notice that goes right up to the fill line on the adjustable pipette. If you keep it level, it keeps it on the fill line. Now, one thing of interest is this unit actually uses Hanna phosphate low-range reagents, which makes things much easier. These ones are still they're right on the point of expiry. They expire just this month. So it'll be a good comparison against the Aquaforest kit. So we'll turn this unit on. We'll give it a 0. So basically before you put the reagent in, you press the 0. That does a sample to see what it's like with no reagent, so it gives us a baseline. I'm not quite sure what SIP stands for. I always say that it's sipping the sample. It clearly doesn't. Right, now we're 0. We open up the sample. We get our reagent. I like to give it a flick to get all the powder down the bottom. I tear the top off there. I know the instructions say to go right around the corner, but I don't do that. Everyone's got their own style. I do like to make a little bit of a funnel though. All right, we've got it all out of there, great. Give that a little bit of a stir, just make sure the reagent's well mixed in. And just before we put it back in, I take the cloth that's provided and I wipe my fingerprints off the vial, because anything on the vial will affect the reading. Basically, this test shines a light through the water, and I assume it measures the color that comes out the other side. So anything that's going to affect that light going through the vial will affect your test. All right, now we put the vial back in, we locate its arrow there, hold down read until it does the countdown. All right, we let that one go for 3 minutes while we move on to the next test. All right, now while that's doing its test, let's grab the Aquaforest phosphate test kit, and we'll do what I call a manual test. All right, so this one has a little color chart that we look through. We've got a couple of different reagents here. Instructions are on this side. So we need 10 ml of water also. Thankfully our pipette's already adjusted to 10 ml. Pull that out. 10 ml of water in. We need 1 ml of this reagent. Reagent A, we need 1 milliliter of that. A bit more now. Not sure how well you can see on camera there, but you adjust the bottom of the syringe. So the syringe has got a little plunger. That's where it needs to line up to 1. So we put that in. It says to close. I don't actually have the stopper anymore. I think I threw it out. I normally just give it a stir for 10 seconds. Then we've got to put 2 spoons of the powder in there. Then we've got to give it 10 seconds, stir, and then 2 minutes wait. So I think we've given that a pretty good 10-second stir. Let's get 2 spoons of the powder in. You want to get flat spoons. So the top, you don't want it to be a heaped spoon. I basically rub it against the side of the vial till it's flat. That one's not quite flat. You want it to be full and flat. It's better. All right, that's all our reagents done. And syringes and spoons, we'll put those all back in the box so we don't lose them. Give that a stir. And then we've got to leave it for 2 minutes, which we've got 1 minute until that test is complete. That'll work out pretty well. Good opportunity to have another sip of your beer. Now, I've been a little bit messy with my stir. I've managed to spill a bit. You probably want to try and avoid that, particularly on your dining table. You've got a few different reagents and things in there. All right, we're going to let that go for 2 minutes. So we'll wait until this one's finished. We'll get the next test kit ready, which we'll do nitrate, because it's a very similar approach. Nitrate thing's ready to go. Our phosphate is just counting down. That's almost at the point where it's going to tell us the magic number. Yes, you can see that on screen fine. So we wait for the countdown. It's doing its sip now. And we'll see what phosphate levels we have. Look at that, 0, 0, 0. If anything, that's too low. We've got some soft corals in that tank. A little bit of phosphate's not a bad thing, but it just goes to show that I put 2 spoons of the Aquaforest GFO, or phosphate minus, into that filter chamber. That's probably too much. You normally want to see a little bit of phosphate. For something like the Idiot Proof Reef Tank, you want to have your phosphate between, say, 0.02 and 0.10. If it goes a bit higher than that, it's not the end of the world. You just may have a bit of trouble with some of your corals. 0.00 is a bit low, so we're going to try and raise that up. But for the meantime, that test's done. Let's see if the, should be about 2 minutes now. We'll see how the Aquaforest manual kit comes up. I reckon it shows us a little bit of colour, not a lot though. We're probably talking, yeah, okay. It's showing us 0.01, just. So we're somewhere between 0.00 and 0.01. So we're very low on our phosphate. It's not great, but it's a good problem to have. It's easier to add more food. I can feed the fish a bit harder or add a bit more coral food than it is to try and take it out. So that's good to know. We'll put the phosphate test kits away. They've both collaborated with each other or confirmed each other that our phosphates are very low, so we're not getting obscure tests. That's a good result. Okay, onto the Aquaforest nitrate test kit. We start off needing 1 milliliter of aquarium water, so I'll get my small adjustable pipette. We are set to 1 milliliter there. 1 milliliter out of our sample. It's a very small amount of water. We take 1 spoon of reagent A, which is this powdered one with a childproof lock, which is outsmarting me. Again, we want a flat spoon, not a heaped spoon, but it does need to be a full spoon. And I'm having more trouble than I should getting a spoon of reagent. We're onto a winner here. Perfect. Let's put those ones away. Give that a stir. It does say that we can close it and stir it. I don't know if we actually need to do that. It does say we need to wait 1 minute between stirring this. and then putting reagent B in. So we'll give it a minute. I'll probably fast forward the footage so you don't have to wait a minute of me just stirring this vial. All right, we've waited a minute. We've got to add 2 milliliters of reagent B. Again, the bottom of the plunger is to the 2 milliliter mark, not the little air bubble. The air bubble is caused by the little tip of the syringe. Totally fine. All right, we'll put that in. It says we have to close and stir for 10 seconds. All right, now we have to wait 3 minutes. Then we get a visual from the top down. Early stages are that we do have a little bit of color in there. We'll give it the full 3 minutes. A little bit of color is good. With the Idiot Proof Reef Tank, we probably want to be from 10, a nitrate reading of 10 or lower. Anything over 10 suggests we need to up our water changes. Anything under probably 1 suggests we need to feed a bit more. So this will be interesting to see whether it's our GFO that's pulling the phosphate out of the water or whether our water changes are not enough. If we've got nitrate above 0, it probably suggests the GFO is being quite efficient. We can back off the GFO and probably up the water changes, but we'll wait and see what color that comes in as. It's looking very light pink at this stage, so probably at this stage we're looking around about 1 to 2 parts per million of nitrate, which is not a bad reading at all. I'll pack the rest of the reagent up while we wait, and I'll fast forward the footage. All right, 3 minutes has passed. Let's have a look at the color of this. It is very light pink, so our nitrate's around probably just under 1, which is a good sign. That means our nitrate's very low. We do have a hint of it in there, which is great. We want to have a hint of nitrate. We don't want this bottoming out like our phosphate was. But my concern was if our nitrate was high and our phosphate was low, we were going to be in a little bit of a pickle there in that one test kit's saying we need to feed more food and the other test kit's saying we need to feed less food. With our nitrate also being low, it means that they're both of the waste components of these test kits are indicating that we can feed a bit more. Again, we want to keep our nitrate probably under 10 for the Idiot Proof Reef Tank. If it creeps over a little bit now and then, not the end of the world. People overreact to high nitrates. You don't want to be going 25 plus. That's where things can become quite dangerous for fish and corals. But somewhere between 2 and 10 is a good reading. We're probably a touch low here at about 0.75 to 1. So we'll up our feeding regime. Okay, next up is the Aquaforest Alkalinity test kit. This is a very quick and easy test kit, and it's one that I will use in place of doing all 3 most of the time. I find these 2 to be a bit more stable. This one will give me an indication of where these 2 are. But for today, we'll do all 3. We're going to start with Alkalinity. It's the one that you really want to get most comfortable with doing, I guess. I could pretty much do this without the instructions, but we'll get them out because I've got to take you guys all along for the ride. All right, I've got a few of the ICP results there, not results, samples that you can cross-test. This is an alkalinity reference solution. This has been ICP verified at 7.3, so you can, if you're ever getting odd results, you can test this water instead of your aquarium water and make sure that you're getting 7.3. Anyway, this is not a video so much on the Aquaforest test kits, it's more about what results we've got in the Idiot Proof Reef Tank. So, first of all, we've got to get 3 milliliters of aquarium water. I'll adjust my pipette down to 3. We'll get 3 mil of tank water, pop that into the vial. I'll put my stir bar in there. All right, now I'll turn that on with the light because it's extra dramatic with the light. Now we get reagent A. It says to shake first, so give it a good shake. All right, now we've got to put 3 drops of this in. And we have to wait 5 seconds. By the time you get your sample out, 5 seconds has passed. So we get reagent B. You need a full syringe of this, 1 milliliter, again, filling up to the bottom of the plunger. I'm not sure how well that'll come up on camera, but we go right to the bottom of that syringe there. Then what we do is we drip this in. You see drop by drops going in, and we watch the color. The color's got to go bright pink, basically the same color as the tip of the syringe. See, it's just starting to turn purple with each drop, but then it sort of goes back to a bluey color again, so that tells me we're getting close. It's gone a lightish pink there. And now we're vibrant pink. Give it one more drop. Okay, we're good. All right, so now the bottom of our syringe is saying that we are at 0.45. So I'll tip this over, we'll have a look for 0.45, and that says we are alkalinity of 7.7, right in the sweet spot. All right, the next test we're going to do is Aquaforest's calcium test. I'm hoping this will be in the sweet spot of around, Aquaforest say between 380 and 460. I'll probably narrow that down a little bit between 400 and say 440 is about the area I want to keep calcium at. But let's follow their instructions and see what we get. So we've got to put 2 milliliters of sample water in. So that's right at the bottom of my adjustable pipette, but that's fine. Grab 2 mil out, pop that in there. All right, might as well pop that on. We've got to get 1 spoon of reagent A. Again, a nice flat spoon, not heaped. It's going to be full, but flat. Oh, I just spilt something, so I'll grab another spoon. All right, tip that in. That should color our sample up nicely. Pop the spoon away before I lose it, and same with the reagent. Okay, now, this is where you have to pay attention because reagent B is 0.4 mil of reagent. So we've got reagent B here. And it says to use the syringe with the little blue flag on it. So we're going to get 0.4 milliliters of this out. I tend to get a bit more and then push it back in till we get 0.4. Right to the bottom of the syringe. Perfect. It says we can dump that in. You can see the color that we went from to the color we are. That kind of gives you a bit of an indication as to the color change we're looking for. All right, so that's reagent B done. It says we need to give that 10 seconds. I find by the time I put that away and I get a full syringe of reagent C that 10 seconds has passed. All right, again, going to the bottom of the plunger. All right, now we've got to drip this in. Now it does say that we should wait 10 seconds per drop. I find that to be a little bit excessive, to be honest. You'll see when you start to get a bit of a color change, you need to ease up then and wait for it to get the real blue change. That being said, I'll probably go a little bit slower with this than I do on the alkalinity test. Still quite pink. All right, we've just gone off pink into almost to white. Starting to slowly turn blue. Not sure how well the camera's picking it up. We've got a light blue there. And now we have a proper blue. Now we are at 0.1 mil of a solution left. So let's have a look and see where that puts us. That puts us at 450. So it's a touch high, but it's well within range, particularly in Aquaforest's range. Personally, I'd say it's probably a touch high, but that's not necessarily an issue. It just means we're not going to have to dose any calcium. All right, last but not least is the Aquaforest magnesium test. This is one I must admit I don't do all that often, so I will follow the instructions fairly religiously. We need 2 milliliters of aquarium water. So I'll grab that out of our sample jug. Pop him in there. It doesn't seem like a lot of water, but that's okay. Put the stir bar in. Let's turn that on. Now we need 5 drops of reagent A. 5 drops of reagent A. 3 drops of reagent B. 1 spoon of reagent C. This can be tricky to get out when you're getting low on reagent, but we've got a good full spoon there. No, we don't. All right, there's a spoon of reagent C. All right, now we need to get 1 milliliter of reagent D out, which I am getting low on this test kit. All right, again, going to the base of the syringe. And then we start dripping it. You can see it's currently a very pale pink. It'll go from pink to purple to blue. Once we get to blue, that's where we need to stop and measure the syringe. So let's drip these in. Still fairly pink. It's definitely going purplish. Ooh, we're getting a bit of blue there. A little bit further. That's about as blue as we're going to get. So I've probably gone a bit past it. I'd say we'll back up about the 0.1 mil of the syringe, which at 0.1 we are 1350, which is exactly where you want to be with magnesium. I'll just put the rest in to see if it goes any bluer. Nah, that's as blue as it's getting. So yeah, somewhere between 0.05 and 0.10, which puts us around the 1350 to 1400 mark, which is perfect for magnesium. Not surprisingly, because our alkalinity and our calcium were also well within range, it's pretty unusual to see magnesium go high or low without those two altering at all. All right, there we have it. All of our tests all now complete. Only thing to do is to pack up all this mess and summarize the video. All right, guys, there you have it. Seems like the Idiot Proof Reef Tank is just singing along beautifully. I will still do my weekly water change on this. At the moment, I'm doing 25 to 30 litres a week on it. Even though all of our parameters look pretty good, it's still good practice to do water change because there are a lot of elements that we aren't testing for. Plus, it puts a little less pressure on your test kits being as accurate. If you can do a decent sized water change, and realistically a 25 to 30 litre water change on this is really pretty easy, so there's no reason for me not to do it. It will help keep those parameters in check, and it will save us from having to dose anything in there for now. So whilst I'm happy that the water results came back as good as perfect as you would say, maybe a little bit low, might need to feed a bit more into this tank, I'm still going to do a water change. I'm going to keep on keeping that routine in place just so this tank keeps being in the range where we want it to be. That's about all I wanted to cover today. I hope it answers a few of the questions around how the Idiot Proof Tank's going. If you've got any suggestions or recommendations or things we should be doing on this tank, feel free to pop it in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. And as always, if you're yet to subscribe, consider doing so. It takes about 2 seconds of your time, costs you nothing. Just hit that subscribe button down below. It goes a long way to helping me out, and I'd really appreciate it. Till next time, guys, stay safe and keep reefing. Cheers, bye.